And Ashley, on a podcast back in November, Hegseth said, quote, "I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles." On Fox News last night, he claimed his words were misconstrued. Let's watch.
I also want an opportunity here to clarify comments that have been misconstrued that I somehow don't support women in the military. Some of our greatest warriors, our best warriors out there are women who serve, raise their right hand to defend this country and love our nation, want to defend that flag, and they do it every single day around the globe.
So it sounds like a walk back, but there is a distinction between women in the military and women in combat. And if you're not in combat, you can't be promoted to leadership roles. And one of the remarkable signs, of recent years, decades, is that women are now in major leadership roles, including, working at the Joint Chiefs.
That's right. I mean, he did seem to try to walk it back a bit, but he did not say in that statement or those comments that he thinks women should specifically be in combat roles. And when you look at his previous comments on this issue, he's made quite clear that he believes that putting women in combat roles was complicating, that it led to more casualties, and that it led to a lowering of standards overall. He signaled perhaps that if the standards were not brought down, in his view, he would be open to that. But again, there is a distinction, but I think we are going to see him try to become as palatable as possible to the people he needs, like Senator Joni Ernst, who, of course, is a likely person to be skeptical of him, but is coming around in part because of a lot of very real political pressure on her.
And Carl, you've spent so many years up on the Hill. I want to ask you specifically about Tulsi Gabbard.
Sure.
Because I cover the intelligence community, and the concerns there are because the role of the DNI is to edit and approve the presidential daily brief, which is handed over every day by the CIA, and to appoint the briefer. So she gets the last word on what the president will be seeing. And she has spouted conspiracy theories that are helpful to the propaganda interests of both Russia and now Syria, Syria, which is now so important. Nobody credibly is talking about her being a willing, asset, but that she has got some very strange ideas.
Yeah, I think that's one that's been percolating much more quietly on Capitol Hill, but percolating nonetheless. Like the people who are involved in intel, as you say, they're behind the scenes, but there's some real concerns on her. And what's going on in Syria has just put that into the forefront. It's going to be another difficult confirmation. I mean, Joni Ernst, there's a lot going on with her. She's up for re-election next time. Her brand is women in the military and against sexual assault. One thing that's been interesting, Andrea, to me this whole time is watch the Democrats. They've been laying low on this, and they want the fight to be among Republicans, and they don't want to get in the way of that fight. But, they're at some point, they're going to be coming out, too. They're flabbergasted, really, that their Republican colleagues are considering putting some of these people in. So, as things play out here and we get closer to hearings, I think you'll hear more from them. I think Ryan's right. Long way to go on these. And, hearings can be very explosive.
Let me ask you about that and the procedural questions here, because there were times during the Kavanaugh hearing where the FBI just put things out but was not very helpful to what the Democratic critics wanted. And the FBI tends to sort of be a vacuum cleaner, and so they put out things that include unchecked allegations.
Right.
And that gives Republicans and in this case, and the candidate, the nominee, a chance to say, you see, that's not accurate, and then everything gets thrown out. So there's a lot of peril in that. Can the Democrats call witnesses?
I think they would definitely try and call witnesses.
But can they be overruled? I mean,
they can. They're going to be entitled to witnesses in these hearings. I think that, say, when you look at Armed Services Committee, I think there's a pretty good relationship, really, between Roger Wicker and Jack Reed. I don't think the Democrats are going to get run over by the Republicans in the Senate on this. They're going to get their chance. Now, what the incoming administration feels about that, that's that's the question of what do they try and go outside or go through a recess appointment situation. But I think you can see the Democrats, when they get their opportunity, they're going to zero in on things. And it's not just going to be with Pete Hegseth, it's not just going to be his behavior, but it's about his ideas for the military and, the cleaning house over there. And I think that, you'll find some real questioning from the Democrats. But of course, under the changes in the Senate rules, it's just a majority vote.
And it's alleged mismanagement in
Correct.
these, military groups, veterans groups, small groups, not the,
Yeah, I think you'll see a lot of emphasis on this. And I even hear from Republicans, who are not way out in front on this, that one of their big questions about all their nominees is managerial competence. This is a thing that they actually care about. I mean, Pete Hegseth, that's like one of the biggest things in the government, to be running one of the most important jobs. And I do hear that from Republicans saying, these people have to, RFK Jr., these people have to be able to present some kind of convincing case that they can actually manage these huge agencies.